Why are organohalogen flame retardants so prevalent? The increased use of flame retardants in the 1970s was a result of the California State Flammability Standard, Technical Bulletin 117, which became the de facto furniture flammability standard for the United States and throughout the world. The standard required furniture foam and baby products to be tested with a small open flame. To meet this standard, furniture manufacturers had to rely on the use of flame retardant chemicals. However, the standard did not address the major cause of residential fires, which was and still is a fire initiated by a smoldering source, such as an unattended cigarette. It also did not take into account the interaction between furniture foam and the upholstery cover. Has anything changed in the use of flame retardants? In 2013, California updated TB 117 to require a smolder test for fabric, filling, and decking in place of the open flame test. For fabrics that do not pass the smolder test, a compliant barrier may be used between the fabric and the foam. Although the new standard can be met without flame retardants, it does not ban their use. Additionally, toxic flame retardants have been used in products for over 40 years, so they will continue to be a concern for consumers and firefighters alike for years to come. Are there efforts to ban toxic flame retardants? While the U.S. Consumer Products Safety Commission has issued guidance that argues against the use of flame retardants in consumer products, their use is not banned by the federal government. State governments have taken the matter in their own hands, and now 14 states have laws banning their use. Although we focus on organohalogen flame retardants, there are many compounds classified as organohalogen that range in their regulation from banned to unregulated. Two particular organohalogens that firefighters should be concerned with are polychlorinated biphenyls, PCBs, and polyvinyl chloride, PVC. PCBs were commercially manufactured from 1929 until production was banned in 1979 by the Toxic Substances Control Act, TSCA. PCBs were used in hundreds of industrial and commercial applications, including electrical equipment, appliances, cable insulation, thermal insulation, adhesives, paint, caulking, plastics, and floor finish. Although banned over 40 years ago, PCBs continue to be routinely measured in fire smoke at residential and commercial fires today. PVC is a component of building materials, consumer goods, medical equipment, and many other everyday products. More than 5 billion pounds of PVC are used annually for wire, cable, and other electrical applications. Although there are some regulations regarding the manufacture of PVC, and it is banned for use in food storage containers in some states, PVC is generally considered safe. However, when PVC ignites, products of the combustion contain carbon monoxide, hydrogen chloride, dioxins, and furans. As there is no movement to ban its use, PVC building materials will continue to contribute to the toxicity of modern fire smoke and should be a concern to firefighters in particular. When toxic organohalogens persist and personal protective equipment fails to prevent firefighter exposure, an occupational disease can occur. Presumptive legislation is a type of legislation that provides, if an employee is diagnosed with certain disease associated with their occupation, the disease is presumed to have been contracted in the course and scope of their employment. Typically, when an employee is diagnosed with a disease or injury, the employee must prove that the disease or injury arose out of and in the course of employment to receive compensation benefits. If a statutory presumption of compensability exists and the employee meets certain requirements, then the employee's injury or disease is presumed to have arisen out of and in the course of employment. Presumptive legislation shifts the burden of proof from the employee to the employer. The employee diagnosed with an occupational disease or condition covered by a presumptive disability law would be entitled to payment of medical expenses, workers' compensation benefits, lost wages, disability retirement benefits, and benefits for spouse or family if necessary. Since occupational diseases don't manifest themselves until well after the exposures that contributed to them occurred, research on firefighters as an occupational group is critical to supporting firefighters who contract these occupational diseases. There are several diseases and conditions that scientific studies have associated with the occupation of firefighting, and hence presumptions exist for. They are heart disease, lung disease, infectious diseases, mental health conditions, and cancer. Depending on which state or province you live in, you may have all, some, or none of these protections.